Welcome to the Chasing Winners podcast. This is Kyle Massaloni here with JP Lyon. As always, I just did an Undertaker intro for some reason, but we're here. Another week of college football, week 5 incoming. But let's just recap week 4 real quick. JP, how'd we do?
I'm a little upset. I'm a little upset about our lines, our records last week. As you can see on the screen now, we both went. I'm going to start with the best bets in the podcast picks. We both went 4-1-1 on big games, and we both lost our best bet, lost the parlay. So as far as like the big games go, we're doing pretty well. And then in the actual competition podcast picks, Kyle even by half a game this week. I'm not gonna lie, even by half a game. It was just because he got Notre Dame plus 3.5. I don't know where he got it. I'm not gonna question it. I'm not gonna say he was lying about that line. I'm not gonna go there. But Kyle was 8-6-1 last week. I was 7-6-2. We both pushed Oklahoma and Cincy on opposite sides, and then the 3.5 versus 3 is the only difference in our weeks. I think we both have better days ahead, but tough one for me to swallow as I'm trying to get back into this. I have not won a single week since week 0 when I was on Notre Dame. It's just tough to swallow.
Clean sweep so far. This is crazy. I'm just winning every single week. JP, is this the week that you're gonna come back here? Finally, give me some competition.
Competition. I mean, probably not. I'm down 6 games overall in the podcast picks and 8.5 in total. So I don't think me taking Nebraska this week is going to help me very much, but hopefully the rest of the games are going to help me get back in there. So I don't know. We'll see how this week goes.
Yeah, 8 games isn't that bad. I could just completely collapse at any time. I mean, Miami's not even going to be playing this week, so I'm going to overthink every other game because I can't about Miami.
You have to put the same amount of thought in overall, so you just throw that extra into each game, and that makes sense. Well, how was Miami Temple?
Oh, I mean, it was freezing. It was raining. That's probably why I'm a little bit under the weather right now. But we took care of business, dominated them. That was Philly itself was fun. The game, it was cold and raining and kind of not fun. Not a lot of people there, as you would expect at a Temple home game. But here I was.
I remember the picture you sent me. You were very close, which I don't think those are the seats you paid for.
The seats I paid for were actually fairly close to that.
Oh, okay.
It's not very expensive to go to a Temple football game. Let's just put it that way.
That makes sense, yeah.
Even against Miami. So let's hop into the games here. The big games of the week. We're starting on a rare Friday game. I can't believe this game is being played on a Friday. It's way too good for that. We got 9 p.m. FS1. Don't forget, I've said it 3 times already. On Friday, number 10 Utah going on the road against number 9 Oregon State. Oregon State are 3.5 favorites at home. JP, I'm gonna ask the question. What the hell is this line?
I was waiting for it. I almost said it before you did. Oh God, that's Oregon State was 2.5-point favorites last week, 2.5, 3, depending on when you took it, and they lost badly in Pullman, Washington, to the Cougars of Washington State. Shout out to my freshman year roommate Tayson, big Washington State guy. I can't understand this line. I can't. It makes no sense. And usually, if you have been listening since last year, I don't need any more analysis on the game. All I need is this line makes no sense. I can't understand it at all, and I'm just going to take Oregon State. Kyle, what if I told you that 44% of the country is taking Oregon State in this game?
What? Whoa, so it's not even like a crazy public flex towards Utah.
No.
Like
no, the 56% of the public is on Utah.
I, for the life of me, cannot understand that. Is it because Utah didn't put up points last week? I mean, they were playing a good team.
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously Cam Rising didn't play last week. It's 3.5 with the hook. Even the hook of the half is it makes absolutely no sense. The only reason I'm not, like I said, the only reason I'm not automatically taking Oregon State is because Utah isn't the automatic public favorite. I don't understand it, but if the rest of the public does, then I can't automatically fade them.
It makes no sense. Like I would look at this line and say that it's 90% Utah. Clearly people don't know, but clearly the public does not know ball. Well, the public doesn't know ball to begin with, but
yeah. They seem to know more ball than we think they do. It's the classic, Princess Bride. We think they don't know ball, so they'll take Utah, but now they're not taking Utah, so we must know ball and take Utah, right? I mean, that's
they've flipped the coin on us to where now they're testing if we actually know ball. I mean,
yeah,
I'm gonna take Utah plus 3.5. They haven't given me a reason not to trust them yet this season. I mean, UCLA was 14-7 at home, yes, but once again, UCLA is a very good team. Was it weird that game wasn't a little more high scoring? Is that what people are freaking out about?
I mean, maybe.
But they also only gave up 7 points. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, they have really good defense. I mean, I have no idea how we scored a touchdown on them, given our anemic offense, but that's a story that I assume will come up later. But I'm going to join you on Utah plus 3.5 here. I don't love it. I would have liked it. Well, I would have liked it a lot more if they were favored. But
yeah, because it's still a fishy line, whether the public's on them or not. The line is very fishy.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would love just a week where there's like 6 fishy lines and the public has figured out all of them somehow. It would just make me. It would be really fun to watch and really awful to bet. And since I have to bet it, I'd be really pissed. But I'm going to take Utah plus 3.5. I'm trying to say, I would like it a lot more if Utah was favored, and that only would have happened if Oregon State had won. So surprisingly, if they had won last week, Utah might be favored in this game.
That's nuts. So you're thinking that the Vegas line is accounting for it being a bounce back game at home?
Yeah. I mean, do you agree? I feel like if they had won a close game in Pullman, they might come back here and be underdogs against Utah.
That's the only explanation here.
Yeah.
We may sound very stupid on Friday night before the slate
Oregon State
starts, but I mean, yeah, Utah plus 3.5. I can't.
It's the only way.
This is the way. Up next, what some people are calling the game of the week. I have another idea of what the game of the week is that we'll get to later. But that's absolutely the game of the week. But big noon kickoff on Fox. So weird, by the way, because one team is Pacific time and one team is Mountain time. We got number 8 USC, where it will be 9 a.m. local time, going on the road to Colorado, where it will be 10 a.m. local time. USC are 21.5 point favorites. number one, what the hell are they doing with this schedule? And number two, do you think Colorado bounces back?
I mean, I think they have to bounce back. They have to. They're not. If they don't bounce back, then I'm going to sit here next week and talk about how Colorado are frauds, and I don't really want to do that. And as I keep threatening each week to talk about how teams are frauds, and I don't really do that to start the show. But the team I threatened to talk about last week, we're going to talk about later, so we'll get to them. I'm happy we're going to get to them. Actually, I'd like to start with picks for you this week because you have gone on the record and been right so far with Colorado. Every week you've picked their game right. Every week we've also had their game in the podcast.
Well, yeah, because they're the story of college football, which is really it's starting to get very annoying. It wasn't after the Colorado State game, but
what do you mean annoying? I've been wrong every week. You've been right every week. This is really, really going well for you. You have to put them in even if they play Baylor.
No, I know. I get it, but I'm just saying, like, as far as not even Dion, like, none of what he does annoys me. It's the media that annoys me.
Yeah, I mean it's the Oregon video they put out I thought was kind of cool.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, it was really cool. I'm a big fan of Lanning and the program he's building there, which sucks because I wanted to hate them because they stole our quarterback from us, and now I can't. So that's really annoying. But Oregon's cool. They got the cool uniforms, and they didn't talk shit to Colorado, and then they beat their asses. And now we have to sit here and keep talking about Colorado, and I don't want to do it because I keep picking their games wrong.
Hey, if they get dog walked in this game, they may finally be off of our podcast next week when they play Arizona State.
Yeah, I guess that's
they
better be off our podcast regardless. We cannot put Colorado, Arizona State on here regardless. If they beat UCLA, if they beat USC by 50, I don't want to see them on our podcast next week.
I know they may not even be on the regular list next week, but
yeah, good.
we'll get to that when the time comes. But you asked for my pick first. I'm gonna give it. I've been saying throughout every single Colorado game we've broken down, I've managed to say the same thing in it, that they're going to get wrecked by Oregon, but USC is a better matchup for them. And I've been saying it all year, so I'm gonna stick to it. I mean, USC's defense is nothing to write home about. They gave up 28 to Arizona State last week. Weird game late at night. Colorado could put up points. I think if this is 6 last week, but that was an Oregon team ready to fight them. But if they could make this a track meet, they could keep it within 21.5 points. Do I think they lose? Hell yeah. But do I think they cover? Hell yeah. JP, what do you think?
I have to agree.
Oh my God, we're agreeing on a Colorado game?
Yeah, this is bad. It's either really bad news for you or really good news for me. And we're gonna find out this week. 62% of the public's on USC. 21.5 is a big number for me. I obviously think that USC is really good. Their offense is legit. Colorado's defense is not. Historically, USC's defense is just as not legit, is just as ass as Colorado's is. And that's going back as long as Lincoln Riley's been coaching. So, or at least coaching that I remember. So I have to take Colorado here plus 21.5. It has to be a bounce back game for them. I don't think they win, even if it is at home. Obviously, they've won as 21-point underdogs before. But no, I Colorado plus 21.5. I'll take 48% of the public and somehow just put up enough points to score, man. Their offense has to bounce back after the last week wasn't good, and then most of the Colorado State game wasn't good. They got to find a gear without Travis Hunter.
I mean, it's just shocking to me that Colorado isn't a public pick, given that they were throughout. But I mean, now you got another, I would say, major brand that the public loves in USC. So
yeah, it's different than obviously Utah and Oregon State. Neither one is a public brand type of play, and the public is on. They aren't taking like the home bounce back play, and then here both teams are more of the type of public brand play. Not brand as in USC and Colorado are not the same brand, but this year it feels like they're the same type of play that the public is on, and now they're again not taking the home team as a bounce back play. So I don't know if that's a trend, but I have no idea how to read it, man.
So yeah, it's just pretty much, I feel like if they could keep this close, they could still kind of keep their media momentum going. But if they get dog walked again, we may not have to talk about them ever again this season.
Dude, imagine if Arizona State beats them.
Oh, that would be so funny. By the way, that Arizona State game is on the Pac-12 network. So imagine everybody trying to tune into a Colorado game and they're like, where's the Pac-12 network? And it's like, you just don't get it. You don't get the Pac-12 network. Nobody does.
Welcome to College Football Casuals. You can all come over to my place. I get the Pac-12 network. You all can come over here and watch the game. We're all going to watch Colorado lose to Arizona State. It's going to be great.
Do you actually get the Pac-12 network?
I do.
How?
I do. It's part of my I pay $6 a month for the sports package. I get the Pac-12 network and each of their member networks.
Wow.
So I get a lot of Pac-12 volleyball games.
That's
and then I get ACC network, so I get to watch Miami volleyball.
Nice.
I get what else is on there? Oh, like Red Zone is on there. MLB network, NBA network, NFL network, like all those, like not CBS Sports. I don't think I get the Big Ten, but I get that on my dad's cable package, so I can stream that. So I literally get every network except for ESPNU and CBS Sports. Those are the only two on Saturdays that I can't use.
I mean, there's rarely great games on ESPNU anymore, I feel like they're mostly showing like FCS games.
Yeah, there was one last week that I bet on that I wanted to watch that was on there. CBS Sports honestly has one every week that I wanted to watch and can't, but it's not like a Power 5 legit game. It's just one I bet on for no reason, and
like
then I can't watch it.
Like a Mountain West game. Mountain West is on there a lot.
Mountain West, like American Athletic Conference, is one of those games is usually on there, and of course I bet on it, but I can't watch it.
All right, so moving on from our rant about networks here. Always fun though. We got 3:30 ABC ranked versus ranked matchup. I don't remember. We don't get to say that a lot about this matchup. It might have been last year. Number 24 Kansas on the road against number 3 Texas. Texas are 16.5-point favorites. JP, this is Big 12, so I'm gonna throw it over to you first.
Kyle, nothing in me would love it more. There's nothing I would love more than watching Kansas beat Texas on their way out of the Big 12. It would make me so happy. It would almost make me go ahead.
That would make your year. Like Baylor, whatever happens. Kansas beat Texas.
It would be almost as good as if we had beat Texas last week. That's how close it is. It's just barely behind that. Unfortunately, there's no reason for me to believe in that because I watched Texas last week. Now I was very drunk for that game. because I was not expecting anything good, and the first half was very bad. So things did not get better in the second half. It's a bad day when our third string quarterback to start the season is our leading rusher in a game against Texas. That's just as games go. That's not really what I want. So Texas beat us 38-6, if I remember correctly. I could not. 38-6, and they muffed 2 punts that gave us the ball in field goal range. So they could have beat us by way more. It's the fact that we didn't score a touchdown is really a credit to their defense. Kansas, I've been picking Kansas pretty well this year. We both took them against Illinois. I took them against BYU last week. Those were big for me. And you took BYU, so that was even bigger for me. I'm going to take Texas here at home. I don't feel like they've showcased their entire offense yet because they haven't had to, because they've played arguably the worst team in the Big 12. And then they've played Rice and Wyoming that they haven't looked good against, but they haven't had to because they're Texas. I think Texas, I said something to myself a lot last week with Baylor, Texas, where if you can't, and I tweeted this at half, if you can't get up for Texas, what can you get up for? And it turns out Baylor can't get up for anything. But if you're Texas and there's a couple games on your schedule that you have to get up for. Obviously, Oklahoma. Obviously, Alabama early in the season. Kansas is actually a game where you have to get up for that. And as weird as it sounds, when Kansas was bad, they beat you and embarrassed you in your home territory 2 years ago. And 6 years ago, if I remember correctly. 17, I think it was.
Yep. I said
you got embarrassed 2 years ago in a overtime or double overtime game where this no-name tight end caught a 2-point conversion and beat your ass in Austin. That Sark, if Sark is worth anything, he is replaying that every single day in the Texas locker room, and he has to just have them raring to go beat Kansas by 50. So I'm going to take Texas minus 16.5 because I think they're legit this year. Obviously, everyone has been fooled by this before. I've been fooled by it before. I have to take Texas until proven otherwise. It's a good Kansas team. If they lose by 50, it's I don't put it against Kansas. I think they're still a top 25 team, but Texas minus 16.5 is kind of what I have to take, man.
Oh man. For some reason, I should not do this. It's just the history is there. They always manage to either give Texas a good game or pull off the upset. It's like a game that we're not going to talk about. It's like the Syracuse-Clemson matchup where it's like every year it's like how is this happening? I have to do it. Kansas plus 16.5 on the road. I don't have much of an explanation for it. Jalen Daniels could ball. Yeah. Kansas minus 16.5. Let's ride. Why not?
Kansas alt line minus 16.5. Is that what you want?
Oh, Kansas plus 16. I definitely minus 16.5. Imagine that. What would the odds be on that?
I mean, they've got to be plus 400, 500 to win. So at least double that for
plus
minus
50,000.
It'd be tough. Do you want the public number on that?
I do.
55% Kansas.
Oh my! I thought I was knowing ball, picking against Texas. You know,
I mean, 55 isn't anything either way, but if you factor in the people are just going to take Texas regardless, that line is interesting.
Yeah, I will be buying the hook on game day.
Oh yeah.
Moving on down here to SEC games, 6 p.m. ESPN, number 13 LSU traveling to Oxford to play number 20 Ole Miss. LSU are 2.5-point favorites on the road. JP, can Lane Kiffin finally win a big game?
Oh, start with what is this line? I was really hoping you would.
This isn't a what is this line moment for me. I think the line is about right. I think this is a close game.
Well, I mean, I think it is too, but I feel like the line should be more. Now, Ole Miss obviously coming home after 2-touchdown loss to Alabama in Tuscaloosa. LSU lucky to survive on the road at Arkansas. On the road? At home. At home against Arkansas.
I think is that game still played in Cowboys Stadium every year? Or is that that's Arkansas A&M that's played there. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be in Jerry World in a couple weeks. I should go to that game sometime. If I stay in Dallas, that'd be a fun game to go to.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. But yeah, LSU going on the road now after a tough 3-point victory at home against Arkansas. The line is just screaming Ole Miss to me. Is it screaming that to you?
It kind of is.
I mean, if you don't factor in the public line, which is 77% LSU. Obviously, I said to start the year, I bet on LSU's win total, and I called them frauds to start the year, and then they lost by 3 touchdowns to Florida State. Now Florida State's trying to prove they're actually good, so that ruins everything for me. But I also took their win total. So I'm sitting here as a person who thinks that LSU are frauds, and I don't think I've gone on the record on Ole Miss yet. Ole Miss is I'm gonna take. I really hate the 2.5. Not gonna lie, hate the 2.5. Gonna take Ole Miss plus 2.5. I think you and I are both going to take Ole Miss plus 2.5, and we're both going to buy the hook desperately when it comes out. But 77% LSU in a game that Ole Miss coming home after a 2-touchdown loss. Lane Kiffin's got to have something, man. He's got to have something.
Literally, the intangible here is just all week. If you've seen on I don't know. I don't really read much LSU and Ole Miss social media pages, but somehow it came up in my feed. Everybody's asking, like, can you name a memorable, like, huge Lane Kiffin win at Ole Miss? I can't name. I forget who they were playing, but I remember the one, like, it was a late night, like 9 o'clock game when he was just talking shit to everybody. Was it Ole Miss, Mississippi State? I feel like it might.
I was gonna say maybe Mississippi State. Was it last year? Because they weren't that good, and neither team was that good.
I'm looking.
They haven't beat Alabama, right?
No, I don't think they've beaten I don't know if they might have beaten LSU when LSU was down.
But yeah, that wouldn't be like a big.
I'm looking up the head-to-head.
Yeah,
prepared with this.
Well, you were the one that brought this up. I wasn't prepared for this.
I know. This is a rivalry game. It's called the Magnolia Bowl. I guess I don't.
LSU Ole Miss.
Yeah, I guess I don't know bowl.
The fuck, Magnolia Bowl. That's we
So
have Magnolia.
So Ole Miss beat them once, 2021. That's probably what I was thinking of. Before
Ole Miss hasn't won a game at Alabama since 2015.
Yeah. And their last win against, and that was in Oxford. Their last win against LSU before that was 2015. Yeah.
They must have been good in 2015. They beat Bama and LSU.
I think that was before Lane Kiffin was there.
I assume it was, but I mean, now I'm just curious about 2015 Ole Miss. Hold on. Yeah, that was Hugh Freeze.
Yeah.
Hold on. Yeah, they went to the Sugar Bowl that year and they beat Oklahoma State by 28.
Yeah.
First 10-win season since 2003. Okay, interesting.
I think this is it for Lane, though. I think this is the game. This is the year. He's gonna get himself a signature win. Whether LSU are actually good or not, I don't think that's decided yet. I think we both decided they're not. I don't think the nation and the AP poll and all that are ready to admit that yet.
Are they is it 13? Is that LSU?
Yes.
13 LSU. I mean, I guess they beat up on Mississippi State. That's kind of a teasing to the end of our last game here. But if Alabama beats the crap out of Mississippi State, and if Ole Miss beats LSU, LSU might drop bad.
Yeah, I think we're in for LSU to fall out of the top 20, which I'm just praying for the chaos scenario where Miami moves up into the top 15 without playing.
What are they now?
We are 18. Oh, but Ole Miss would jump us. Damn it.
Yeah, they definitely would. Well, I mean, they could move up past a certain team if a certain team that we're about to talk about loses. So,
true.
I mean, because they're 17, right? We're talking about the number 17 team next.
That certain team may be number 17. Yeah.
There you go. So they might pass them. So that's a path.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're picking that though.
We'll get there. Right now.
Well, what's your pick on this game first? Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, yeah.
All right.
2.5.
So we have one different through 4 games. Interesting. I guess we only had two different last week and we split it.
My game of the week now, of course, is the ACC game of the week.
Syracuse.
Well, Clemson, Syracuse. let's back up. I'm sorry.
Your game of the week has to be Clemson, Syracuse. We can't ACC.
My game of the week is Clemson, Syracuse. This is what I think the national people should think is the game of the week. I don't know. I'm going on a tangent now. 7:30 ABC. Number 11 Notre Dame starting their weird phase over the next 2 weeks where they go on the road to undefeated ACC teams. Because they have Louisville next week on the road as well, and that will also be an ABC primetime game. On the road in Durham, first time College game day has ever been there for football against number 17 Duke. JP, Duke football, the last 2 years, they're actually good now.
The last time that we talked seriously about Duke football on this podcast was when they played Kansas last year. And I took Kansas and the Big 12 beat the ACC. So if we're going to go kind of ACC versus true ACC, I'm gonna need you to start with your pick here.
I know. I was just teeing you up to ask you to just point out that Duke was good.
Oh, if Duke is good, I mean, Duke. Let's go here. I think Duke. I'm a huge fan of Duke being good at football, and then in December they play this little known green and gold team from Waco, Texas in basketball and lose. I think both those scenarios work really well for me. So that's I think that's what I'm rooting for.
That's just a win-win, yeah.
Yeah.
And Duke, they could keep winning all they want because they don't play Miami, knock everybody else out in the ACC. But yeah, so I do think Duke is a good program, a growing program somehow under Mike Elko. By the way, Mike Elko might end up in a much bigger job in the next year or two with how he built that Duke program essentially out of nothing these last 2 years.
Does he want to come to Waco? We'll trade them the rest of Aranda's contract. I'll trade them right now.
You're very hopeful about that. I don't think he wants to go to Waco just yet.
Damn.
I think he's thinking even bigger than that. No offense.
That's a little offensive. Hold on. I'd like to say a little offensive there, Kyle. What the fuck?
I honestly didn't even mean it that way. By a little bigger than that, I meant he might be thinking like when Saban retires, Dabo ain't the guy anymore. They might call me.
I don't know how to take that.
Hey, Mike Elko's Duke wiped the floor with Dabo's Clemson. But back to the game at hand. I mean, would it be really funny? Would it be the most fun thing ever? Would I revel in Duke beating Notre Dame? Yes, it would be spectacular. Like I could make fun of all my Irish friends that don't watch college football who say they're Notre Dame fans, because that is a thing in the Northeast, by the way.
You don't of Irish people that say they're just Notre Dame fans.
Yeah, a whole lot of Irish people, zero connection to the school, don't even really watch much college football. Probably watched a game last week and that's about it, and say they're Notre Dame fans.
Would you say, as far as T-shirt fans go, would you say they're top 3 schools with T-shirt fans?
Top 3.
Okay, who are your top?
Top 3.
Who are your top 3?
Oof, T-shirt fans. We got this is actually tough.
Because I'm trying to think. We could go top 5 if you want.
We got Notre Dame's in there.
Notre Dame's in there. We don't have to go in order too, so we'll just go. Yeah.
Are we talking about just in like my area, or
I would say nationwide.
Nationwide, ooh, probably Colorado this year, to be honest. If we're counting.
Go including last year.
Okay, Notre Dame, Bama,
mm-hmm.
And God, oof, this is tough to pick a third.
Can you go top 5?
I think
I was gonna start going top 5.
I think it's either Ohio State or Michigan. It's one of the two.
Really?
That may be me living in the Northeast.
Yeah, that's
hurts.
I think between us we can make a good top 5.
Texas. Oh, I forgot about Texas.
I was just gonna go Texas number 1.
yeah. Texas is probably the top. Texas. I'm Notre Dame.
I'm trying to think like Texas, obviously Notre Dame for sure. I'm trying to think if USC can crack that for top 5.
So USC, if they are good, if they go to the playoff,
when they're good, obviously they're top 2. Yeah. I'm trying to think like right now and last year, are they top 5? I don't know.
I don't think they're there yet.
So I don't know. For last year, it's probably Texas, Notre Dame, Michigan, Ohio State.
You have
Bama?
Yeah, you just have Bama.
It's based on previous years. Clemson isn't Bama. even though Michigan doesn't have the success of Michigan, Clemson is kind of a good.
Michigan's a bigger T-shirt fan school, I
but
think.
we're also going off of like the last year of games. If you went to a year ago and you said, "Is there more Clemson or Michigan T-shirt fans?" I bet you'd say Clemson a year ago today.
You're not
No?
well, being from where I'm from, yeah.
You're from the Northeast. That's not Michigan. I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Minnesota.
It's funny. You would think that New York would have a bunch of like T-shirt like Syracuse and Notre Dame fans walking around, and that's it. Probably not Syracuse, but Notre Dame fans.
Not Syracuse, Notre Dame, and I don't even know who else I'd think. Penn State, maybe?
But people just randomly love the Big Ten.
Michigan.
In New York. There are so many Michigan alums. I give them credit for that. But then they wife up people, then they turn into Michigan fans, then their kids turn into Michigan fans, and it's Michigan.
I guess to me, I'm trying to explain the phenomenon there. If you're trying to go Big Ten and you're not going Notre Dame, you're not going ACC, because the Northeast ACC teams stink. No offense, Syracuse.
Yeah.
I guess if you're trying to not go Ohio State because everybody hates Ohio State, then you go Michigan.
Yeah.
As far as like T-shirt fan truly goes, if you're trying to choose someone that isn't like hometown, you don't have a tie to, you don't want to choose Ohio State, so you go Michigan. I guess that makes sense.
I also compared family to T-shirt fans, and I guess family is a valid excuse. So I shouldn't have.
But I mean, yeah.
I do see a lot of random Michigan. Yeah.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I would not have picked
up there too.
Really? I would not have picked that, honestly.
It's because of the Joe Burrow Coach O year.
Really? That's it?
It still lingers.
07 and that is all? They either spawned after the COVID year or
like
they just survived from 07 to 19. Like, that's interesting.
All of my like friends that don't watch on a week-to-week basis, like just watch sometimes, like they mention the one place they mention that they want to go is an LSU game.
Well, okay, that's different because that's if I was and I A, don't have the money, and B, don't care enough. But if I was trying to pick like a college football tour,
I would probably
LSU the day LSU, I have to distinguish between the day LSU and day Death Valley and night Death Valley. LSU is the day Death Valley to me. I would want to go there for a game. I would absolutely want to do that. That's probably top 10 on my list.
You don't want to go to night Death Valley?
Well, I mean, obviously night game is better than day game in general. But to me, Death Valley, if comparing the two Death Valleys, Clemson is more night, LSU is more day.
I think it's the opposite.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, we've talked. And we've just gone on tangents on the definition of a T-shirt fan.
I thought that was interesting. I don't know. I might cut it, but I thought that was interesting.
I thought it was pretty interesting too. We could keep it, but I just want to get back to the football game here at hand that we were talking.
Notre Dame Duke, baby. Notre Dame is minus 5.5.
Notre Dame Duke. Like I was saying, it would be absolutely hilarious if Duke won this game. I would just love it. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think Notre Dame, I know I'm about to be on a hugely public line. I think Notre Dame has a huge bounce back week. Does huge mean they blow the brakes off Duke? No. They might win it by 10 or 13. I think Duke will keep it fairly close. Like I said, that team is damn good, just not Notre Dame good, sadly. Yeah, I think Notre Dame bounces back and covers if they send 11 people out on the field. Now that's a wild card. Maybe defensive coordinator Al Golden over there, former Miami Hurricanes head coach. He may have a few screws loose. He may just throw 10 people out there again.
You never know. You never know what he's thinking. And that's not 11 people is not a guarantee, as we learned.
Yeah.
You mentioned this public line. Do you want to know the number of the public that's favoring Notre Dame?
Yeah.
Or do you know it already?
I think it's 77, right?
I have 74.
Okay.
But
about
yes,
the same.
It's not good. It's not. Usually when you see the lines, you don't want that. So regardless, I'm going to take Notre Dame here. I bounce back to me on the road after you were just at home against the top 5 team is not the same, not top 5 previously. They're top 5 now, right? Ohio State?
Yes.
Yeah. You guys can tell, by the way, from this is our 5th week doing this now, I think. I have not looked at the AP poll once in the first 5 weeks we've done this because my team stinks. And Kyle looks at it every week because his team is good. And not good, but they're in the AP poll every week. So he has to see where they are so he can get mad about the teams that are just in front of him.
Hey,
Don't
say we're not good. Wait, Pro Football Focus is bullshit for college football, but guess what? They have us as the number 1 team in the country.
Pro Football Focus Pro Football Focus A is bullshit for pro sports to start with, and B, it's Pro Football Focus, not College Football Focus.
Well, yes, but they say we're number 1. So I'm gonna take that. Also, okay.
Regardless of how good they were, as long as they're in the AP poll, Kyle has to check it Sunday as soon as it's released so that he can see where Miami is and who's right in front of them so he can start justifying against, they should definitely be above these 2 teams.
Literally 2 p.m. on Sundays, no matter where I am, I'm refreshing Twitter to get the new AP poll.
So as long as Miami is in the AP poll, what's the first week the CFP comes out? Week 9?
Is it week 9?
It's week 9 or 10, I feel like.
Yeah.
Regardless, whenever it is, Kyle and I are going to do our show live that night, and we're going to start, and I haven't said anything about this to Kyle, but as long as Miami is decent and they're in the AP poll, obviously Baylor won't be, but as long as Miami is, we'll start our show, go like halfway through, and we'll just be watching college football rankings live, and then we'll be in the middle of a game, and then Kyle's going to start swearing at the TV, and then we're going to be like, all right, now we have to talk about the rankings.
Bring it back to Notre Dame Duke, please. We need your pick.
I'm going to take Notre Dame -5.5. That's all I got. Right. I think they have to bounce back here. I don't believe in Duke as a program yet. They can beat Clemson, but I don't think they can beat both Clemson and Notre Dame in a season.
The funny thing is, I just checked, we're not going to go that long, but I thought we were going to approach on Baylor in Miami rant long.
Kyle, you say that last time after we finished our last game, between that and the end of the podcast, just like 15, 20 minutes. I don't know how we did it.
We have fun. We have fun.
We have fun. That's all this is about. It's not about actually picking winners. I know it's called chasing winners, but
I've been picking winners this year. I don't know what
shut up.
And then last game we're gonna cover here, 9 p.m. ESPN, number 12 Alabama on the road against Mississippi State. Bama are 14.5-point favorites. JP, I think Bama may be kind of good again.
I would like to. I'd like. Did you pick Alabama last week?
I did.
Okay, I would like you to give me a round of applause right now for inspiring Bama. When I called out Nick Saban, I called him a fraud. Yes, thank you. I said if he doesn't cover this week, he is a fraud. He's not a fraud. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to go on the record as let me break the news to you. Nick Saban, not a fraud. Huge news.
There.
What?
Need a graphic there that just says not a fraud.
I'll try and do that in edit here. But this is huge. This is huge. Nick Saban, not a fraud. I mean, we weren't expecting this. I was. That's why I picked Alabama last week. But we had to have it, and we got it. Now they're on the road at Mississippi State, 14.5-point favorites. Public 75% on Alabama.
Fuck.
I know who you're gonna take now. The benefit of doing this is that I pick knowing the public lines, and then I get to see Kyle's reaction to when I tell him the public lines because he doesn't check it unless he sees it on Twitter.
Well, who's doing better this year? So,
that's a good point. Can you tell me what Mississippi State did last week? You took Notre Dame, right?
I took Notre Dame last week, yeah, and this week.
This week. That's what I wanted.
So Mississippi State lost by 7 to South Carolina in not even Cocktober.
Not what I want. No, that is what I want. They're going home now. Cocktember came early, or no, Cocktember is what it'd be called. So that's different.
Completely different.
Cocktember, Tober, Vember, December. That's what it is. And Cockuary, but that did not happen. I think they played. They played Notre Dame last year in the bowl, didn't they? Or no, UNC. Was that last year or the year before?
When what?
UNC, USC, or SC versus UNC.
I think it might have been last year. Was that the bowl game?
It was one of the bowl games. Was it the Mayo Bowl?
I think you're thinking of the opening week of the season.
No, I know that. I swear it was a bowl game either last year or the year before. I know it was.
Jesus.
If you don't find it quickly, I'm going to start Googling myself.
It was 38-21 South Carolina, the Mayo Bowl. I'm trying to figure out what year that was. 2021.
So 2 years ago.
Yeah.
No, 3 years ago. Wait. Was it January of 2021?
It was December 21.
Yeah, so 2 years ago. I was right. Okay. Neither of those teams are in this game. Breathe.
You're all over the place tonight. I love it.
I shouldn't have. Shout out to my barber. My hair looks amazing, and I had way too much to drink there. So I have to take Mississippi State this week. I think Bama wins the game, but I don't think progress is linear for Alabama. I think 75% on Alabama. 75% of the country thinks Bama is back, as in they won last week and covered. They look decent, and they're going to keep going up. I don't think that's the case. Obviously, they have a great defense. I think Mississippi State learned something from LSU, and I don't know, man. I don't love it, but I hate the 14.5. So I'm going to take Mississippi State going home off a loss, and I'm going to take them to cover, knowing that Alabama can win this game by 10 to 13 points and still feel good about where they're going, especially if LSU loses a close game against Ole Miss, and Alabama really just has to beat Ole Miss to win the division.
I'm somehow up. But,
you got on me, baby.
but yeah, I'm convincing myself that this may be a 14-point game, and it scares me. That would suck so much if I was on Bama and it ended up a 14-point game again.
Yeah.
Oh man. I may talk myself into the other side just thinking about that casualty. But no, I'm not. I'm sticking with my pick. I'm gonna buy the hell out of that hook. But my pick for the podcast is Bama minus 14.5, fully knowing that they're probably gonna win by 14 and screw me.
That's tough. It's really tough.
But I did it anyways.
Stay tuned for next week when we reveal that we both went 5-1 on this week.
On to best bets here. JP, what are you thinking for this week?
All right. Wrote down a team. Now, Kyle, you have to tell me here. I was driving home from the barber, and I was rehearsing in my mind what I was going to say about this game. And then this is a little sneak preview of what I do for each week. I tell myself what I'm going to say, and then I get on here and then I rethink it. But then I got on here with Kyle, and then I realized that last week I had said if I don't win my best bet, then I'm going to pick one before the game or before we record and then change it midway through. So I said, oh no, I have a game I really want. So I'm just going to put one in here that I don't want and then pick the other one. So I have a game on my Excel sheet right now, and it's not a game that I like believe in necessarily. It's a game that if you made me bet on the game, I'd probably take. I would take this side. But I have reasoning. I have like a whole spiel written out in my head for this other game. So if you put the game on the Excel sheet as 1, and the game that I have written out in my head is 2, which of those games should I take?
I mean, you should clearly take the one written in your head.
The one that I actually believe in, and then when I lose, then it's actually me losing and not my strategy.
Yeah.
Damn.
You did not expect me to say that, did you?
No. Okay, so let me tell you guys a little. I'm going to paint you a little picture. Okay. We might go over our longest one this year just because of my picture.
Oh God.
So I'm going to tell you a story of a team they're 1-3 right now, and they're going on the road to a team that is, if I remember correctly, 3-1. I'm gonna do a little quick research here.
Right.
1, 2, 3, 3-1, 3-1. What, Kyle?
I'm laying down for the bedtime story, by the way.
Get your pillows and your blankies out. It's story time. They're going on the road to the team that's 3-1, who the home team, we're gonna call them Team B, lost last week by a couple touchdowns, not more than 14, less than 14. Lost on the road last week to a team that's pretty good. Last year they were really good. This year probably not as good, but it was still pretty good. So this 1-3 team, Team A, is going on the road, and they have looked horrible. They're 1-3 overall, also 1-3 against the spread. Not in this, I'm sorry, not even 1-3. 0-3-1 against the closing number spread. 0-4 if you consider the early week spread. Or, sorry, 1-3 if you consider the closing week spread. 1-3 if you consider the early week spread. 0-3-1 if you consider the end of the week spread. I've had too much. I'm sorry. I've had a bad day at work. I'm sorry. This team is not good. If I told you this team had last week in a 32-point loss, their leading rusher was their start of the season third string running back, and 2 weeks ago they put in same third string running back to spark the offense. If I told you that team,
no, you're
what?
not. No, you're not.
If I told you that team was going on the road to this team that's 3-1 and lost by 2 touchdowns last week, but is now coming home into a big environment, if I told you those 2 teams were playing, who would you take as, and now I have to look up the number because that's not what I have written down. Oh no, I don't have DraftKings open. Hold on. DraftKings.
If I think it's the game we're talking about, I'm seeing 12.5.
12.5 sounds right. Oh, that's not what I wanted. It was 11.5 earlier this week. So if you were on it earlier, you got a better number than me. There we go. That's it. I'm taking UCF. We're not going to call them Central Florida because they really hate when you call them that. And I would hate if they, 11.5. 11.5 on DraftKings is the number I'm seeing. So we're going to go 11.5. UCF minus 11.5. Again, Central Florida, they hate when you call them that. I would hate to piss them off, so they blow this game out of the water. Central Florida minus 11.5. Take it, put it in the bank. The Twins are winning. That's great. Put it in the bank. It's best bet of the week. I haven't bet a single best bet this year. I might bet this one because this is the one I feel most confident about after my team, Baylor, showed no fucking emotion. They showed nothing last week. I said at halftime, if you can't get up for Texas, who can you get up for? And they did not get up for Texas. We have to somehow afford Aranda's buyout, and it's not going to happen. And Kyle, please stop me.
God, when you started painting the picture, I thought you were absolutely going to pick Baylor. That's why I logged on. That's why I came off mute and was like, no, please, no. I thought you were absolutely going the other way. So I'm not gonna talk you out of this.
Good. Because I feel like for the last almost year, I've been asking you to talk me out of Baylor spreads since we lost to BYU. I said, please don't ever let me take Baylor again. So I appreciate that you were about to. I really do.
Yeah, they're not good. They show zero heart. JP, I'm very sorry about that, by the way. It sucks. I've seen it before. I saw it the last year of Manny Diaz, the first year of Manny Diaz. It's not pretty. God, you need to get Aranda out of there somehow, some way.
It's truly. I'll talk Baylor a little tiny bit here. We can't afford his buyout. We can't afford to pay our players anything either, and we can't afford his buyout. So I'm telling you what I'm banking on. I'm banking on Matt Rule being good in Nebraska. Because if I can become a Nebraska fan for like 4 or 5 years and then like also be a Baylor fan, it would make everything so much better for me. Because my dad went to Nebraska, I can just be graduated in and I'm also like a graduate Rule fan. It'd be awesome. I just need him to be good within like 2 or 3 years. I can suffer through a little bit of like pain, but I really need him to be good soon.
Yeah, I don't think you want to suffer through the Aranda Baylor pain anymore, but the Nebraska pain may be even worse at times when they lose in just dramatic fashion every week.
Rule was 1-11 his first year at Baylor. So like, I mean, Rule is already on a better trajectory with Nebraska, right? He's 2 wins. 2 and 2. If they keep it anywhere near close to Michigan this week, I can safely get a Nebraska shirt again.
T-shirt fan. No, I'm kidding. There's an actual connection there. But let's not get into that conversation again. My best bet of the week is it's on late night. None of us can watch it because it's the Pac-12 network. Well, JP can watch it, but I won't be because I can't. But one thing I do love about it is one team in Washington. I'm talking about Washington, by the way. I don't know why I'm building it up. They have just dog walked everybody they played. Boise State 56-19, Tulsa 43-10, Michigan State 41-7, Cal, God, they let up 32 points against Cal, but it was 59-32. Look, I know Arizona has had a good start to the season, for them at least. Well, at 3-1 is pretty good no matter how you look at it. A 1-point win against Stanford is not, though. I just think Washington may be a top 2 team in the country right now. I can't believe I'm saying that, but number one, the Pac-12 is spectacular. And number two, Washington is the cream of it. So, God, the line's 19.5. It's a gigantic line. Gigantic. Michael Penix may throw for 4 touchdowns again, maybe 5. I'm going Washington minus 19.5. And I also need to preface this by saying I really wanted to take Syracuse. I really wanted to. I really, really wanted to when the line was 7 earlier this week. 6.5 scares me a little bit. For some reason, that hook changes everything because we see close games between Syracuse and Clemson all the time, sometimes decided by a touchdown. The hook scares me, so I'm going Washington instead.
I've got 2 things for you. One, I'm very sorry that you ended up not covering the plus 13.5 for the best bet. I know you referenced pushing the plus 13 to me earlier in the week, and it's sad that we both had to lose our best bets. It's just sad.
The closing line was plus 13, but I know that's we went off, so
it's sad.
Tragic.
Like I said, it's sad.
But they're still 3-0-1 against the closing line.
Yep.
And when they win, everyone by 15 or more.
So let's see, I have 2 more things. One, I'm going to end up deciding your Washington bet because Washington is, I know both of us watch Josh Pate. He cannot pick a Utah game correctly. I am the opposite with Washington. I cannot pick a Washington game incorrectly. I am a god with picking Washington games. Tulsa plus 35, check. Every other game, Washington, yep, I covered it. Not Cal. I don't think I bet Cal, but regardless.
God, I wasn't out here calling myself a god about Colorado.
I don't want to talk about Colorado. But yeah, we do have to bet Washington, Arizona this week. So my theory is whoever I pick, I'm hopefully I'm on your side with Washington. And then before we get to the parlay, since we've been recording for forever, you mentioned Washington is a top 5 team. Are they a top 5 team in the AP right now? I don't remember.
I said top 2.
Oh, top 2. That's right. They're not top 2, right?
I think they're a top 2 team, and they may not be number 2, but yeah, they're number 7 in the country right
So
now.
my question to you would be, who are your top 5 teams if you can go through them quickly? They're not quickly, but like top 5 teams.
Oof. Stop. Washington, obviously, I already said it. This is in no particular order. I can't believe I'm saying that, but it feels like cheating.
Order.
Huh?
We gotta go order. I have to order them for the graphic when I put it in.
Well, fine. And
I did put Kyle on the spot, but I also put myself on the spot here because I don't have my top teams.
then I'm going number. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing it. Number one, Washington.
Oh, all right.
This is gonna number 2. This is just off what we've seen so far this year.
Okay.
Number 2, Ohio State. Number 3, Texas. Number 4, oof, this is a tough one, but Georgia. And number 5, Penn State. Yes, I'm leaving Michigan and Florida State out of my top 5.
Who do I have that you? Oh, okay, interesting. All right. I have my top 5. Would you like me to go from 1 to 5 or 5 to 1?
Whichever you want.
Number 5 is Georgia. I haven't played anybody. 4, Ohio State. 3 is Oregon.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Yeah, you include Oregon. You include Penn State over Oregon. I'd just like everybody to note that.
I did include Penn State over Oregon, and I'll actually stick by that.
Really? Okay. Team that covered against West Virginia by 3 because they knew the spread.
Team so covered against Iowa because they kicked the shit out of them.
Iowa is shit. What do you mean? Number 2 is Washington. Number 1 is Texas. I have to put Texas up top. We got beat by the number 1 team, so that makes me helps me sleep a little better at night. Kyle, tell me your pick for the podcast. Well, I'll actually start for the podcast. We normally do the podcast parlay. I'm gonna go with the podcast teaser this week. Now you may think podcast teaser, that doesn't start with the same letter, but we're gonna spell like pterodactyl this week. I've been teasing this since last week, but Kyle hasn't known this yet. So if you see on the screen, we got the podcast teaser. PTEASER. We got the podcast teaser. I'm taking Maryland. We're teasing at 6 points. It's minus 120 on DraftKings. I am taking Maryland for my leg. They were minus 14, so it's minus 8. That's my leg of the podcast teaser. They're playing Indiana. Indiana stinks. Maryland does not. Baby Tua is for real. As we watched the other Friday night against Virginia. Virginia stinks too, but so does Indiana. So we're taking Maryland minus 8 for my leg of the podcast teaser. Kyle, what is your leg of the podcast teaser?
Podcast teaser.
There you go.
Yeah. So my pick for the podcast, I'm not gonna say it that way. My pick for the podcast, teaser is we talked about it earlier, or I talked about it earlier, because I always manage to fit them in somehow. For all the reasons I mentioned then, because I love them to keep this game close or even win, but I hate the 6.5. Why not just buy at 6 points, right? Syracuse plus 12.5. You're stuck betting Syracuse again. Have fun.
So the podcast teaser is Syracuse plus 12.5, Maryland -8. It's -120 on DraftKings. Go and I don't know how you fade a teaser, but we started the season 1-0, and we are 1-3 now. So if you want to fade it, and you can find a way to do that, feel free.
Teaser, just buy it the other way.
I guess it's just betting the combination of Clemson -12.5 and Indiana +8. I guess that would be pretty good odds, actually. Huh. Okay. Or no. Clemson.
All right. I'm ready to wrap up here. We've been on for way too long. I just missed the entire Inter-Miami Houston game that I wanted to watch.
Oh my.
U.S. Open Cup final, but
isn't it pouring rain there?
In Miami?
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, it is. I've been too busy talking about podcast teasers. On that note, Miami is a bye week this week. JP's betting against his own team.
In the bounce house. We're not gonna win. We stink.
We've gone off the rails a few times tonight, but I hope it was entertaining, because we like to riff like this a few times. We like to do this. Tell us if we do it too much.
Yeah, that's fair.
First off, like, share, and subscribe. Tell us in the comments if we rant too much and we should just talk about games, because I think our rants are actually quite entertaining. But of course, I think what I'm talking about is entertaining, and you think what you're talking about is entertaining, because why else would we be talking about it, right? So,
well, you talk about Syracuse, so.
I think what I talk about is entertaining. They are 3-0-1 against the spread, so I'm giving people good picks by giving them Syracuse every week so far. On that note, I've said that 3 times. Behalf of Kyle, JP, like, share, subscribe, and enjoy the games.
See y'all.